So this topic can't be discussed enough, and basically it's this whole thing about people needing some other complicated answer other than calories in versus calories out, which they make it, people always try to make it black and white, which is understandable because that's how you have to say something that will, be contrasting enough for people to get attention. Either people will be super for it or super against it. Whereas if you actually make a point that is very nuanced and not dramatic or sensationalized, which will be far more closer to the truth, right? Because there's not a lot of emotional disturbance or turmoil. You're going to find that, it's not this thing about, the calories in and calories out people, all they want you to do is, eat Pop-Tarts and Cheerios and processed foods. Like, nobody is actually saying that. And because it doesn't even work from a practical standpoint. I mean, it does, but like, those things are high calorie density. So you're not going to be able to eat too much. So from a practical standpoint, your hunger is going to take over. The behavioral side, the psychological side of what happens when I get hungry is going to make you eat more calories. It's going to be very difficult to stick to a lower calorie or the appropriate calorie amount if everything you're eating is like processed food. But at the same time, you're not going to die if you eat a donut every day. Like, I eat a donut every day. I've got like all my blood work, everything, like my testosterone has gone up 100 points in the last 10 years. Why? Because I do things that actually require testosterone, like lifting weights and getting strong and having good conditioning. Like, that's why your testosterone would be at a certain level versus if I'm super soft, aka I don't lift weights or do some type of something that causes my muscles to squeeze, then why would my testosterone need to be high? Like, the testosterone is a byproduct of the stimulus that I put into my body, right? And you don't actually care about the number, the testosterone. You care about what is that you've attached to being able to do. And so anyways, my point with this all being, it is about calories. And this is where the food enjoyment matrix come in. This is where my frameworks, fat loss reliability, right? Where the outcome of any given system is a product, meaning you multiply the reliability of the different parts of that system. And when it comes to fat loss, the three components that I break it down into is your training, your nutrition, and then the behavioral side. And the behavioral side is always the piece that is the most unreliable. Like, you can get even a crappy training program and, it'll still be very effective if you do it. So you could dial that reliability. Like, if you do strength training properly, that's a very reliable component, right? And for nutrition, it's the same thing. If you do almost anything, like, you'll lose fat. But what is the cause of the failure is the third component, which is human behavior. And that's going to be the most unreliable. So even if you had 99% on training, 99% on nutrition, but the human is not well taken care of, well, your adherence is going to go, super down. And so what is the reliability of the human? 50%? 40%? So 99 times 99 times 40, you can see how you're not going to get reliable fat loss. But if I can take care of the human and dial that piece up, then the probability of fat loss goes up, right? I have another video on that. It's a longer video I did for private clients. You can search that on here. But yeah, like, nobody is actually saying eat junk food all day, because it's very hard to get adequate protein if you're eating junk food all day. It's very impractical because your hunger is going to be so high, because the calorie density is going to be so high. And you know, there's a much more nuanced, subtle thing. Like, most of my food is still real food. Most of my food is, you know, what you would call whole or real or whatever. And like, it people just like to be married to different teams, and this is my team. It's like, just relax. That's why I always say, like, my method of fat loss and health is about peace. It's about being peaceful. And these reminders are very important, because the world at large will continue to like make these dramatic statements and sensationalize and divide, and like, oh, these people are evil, and this is gonna kill you. Like, no, none of that's gonna happen. You're probably gonna live a very long life. You might have some issues if you're super overweight and your cardiovascular system is never used, and if you're physically weak, you probably have you're gonna have some issues, but you still live a long time, like, you know. So anyways, just some things to think about, and to remind yourself that don't get caught up in the sensationalization of everything and the drama. And it's like, it's not that serious, and it's not that complex. A calmer, well, at least if you want a calm and peaceful way of being, you're not going to find it when you're looking at it through that lens.